Greetings. I'd like to welcome everybody to the February meeting of the Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Commission. At this time, we'll call the meeting to order. And as always, our first item on the agenda is the prayer and pledge, and Eddie Smotherman's going to take care of that for us. Eddie?
Okay, if you would, please pray with me. Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you for all the many blessings that you continue to bestow on us. Thank you for our wonderful city that we have, all the ways that you have blessed it in the past and continue to bless us. We thank you for the many things that you do for our wonderful city. We thank you for this fine Parks and Recreation Department that we have, and we continue to pray for those who are less fortunate as we go through this cold weather period. We know that those who are homeless and struggling are having difficult times right now, that we not only understand and try to respond to their current needs, but to continually strive to understand to how we need to go in order to help those people to rise above where they're at. We pray for those who are suffering with injuries and grief and pain right now, and continue to pray for our police officers and our firefighters. Thank you for all these many things. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Eddie. Everyone should have received their packets earlier in the week. Contained in the packet were the minutes from our January meeting. At this time, we'll address any changes or corrections that need to be made. And if there are none, a motion for approval.
I move approval, please.
Thanks, Gloria.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Mitzi, thank you. We'll move now to new business. First item is a consideration of the Greenway Art Festival booth. And
Mr. Chair, if I could, I'd like to introduce a couple of new employees.
Absolutely.
Before we start, Ms. Carrie Clems, who is in the audience, is our new Assistant Aquatics Coordinator. She's worked for us about almost 7.5 years part-time. She's been elevated to full-time status now and graduate of Middle Tennessee State University, and we're awfully glad to have Carrie. Carrie, you want to come to the microphone and say something?
I just wanted to say thank y'all for giving me this opportunity, and I'm excited and looking forward to the new programs and events we're going to bring to aquatics. So thank y'all again.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, thank you. And our next one is, you've heard a lot of talk about the new turf manager, and Mr. Shane Lamb, who is in the audience. Shane, raise your hand. Is also a graduate of Middle Tennessee State University and a former employee at the golf department for about 7 years. I think he worked there. He's got around 15 years of experience, started Monday, already out assessing all of the different turf areas and figuring out he's got a pretty big job. So we really welcome Shane to our team and thank him for being there. So wanted to introduce those two new employees to the commission.
Why don't you introduce our legal counsel sitting next to you today? We have a new face here today, Larry.
That's right. Mr. Adam Tucker is playing Kelly Baker today, so we're excited to have Adam with us.
Kelly decided to go to this Disney World after the Super Bowl.
Well, good call. It's got to be warmer weather than here. Adam, welcome. Shane, Carey, welcome aboard. Thrilled to have you guys. Melinda, you're up. Tell us about this Greenway Art Festival.
Good afternoon. Well, the Greenway Art Festival is in September, but we will be starting to take applications in April. The Greenway Art Festival began in 2005, and since then it's grown. It's over at Old Fort Park along the trail, and last year we had about 70 booths of different artists from oil paintings, watercolors, sculptors, pottery, jewelry, just all kinds of artwork from Middle Tennessee. We also have a kids' arts and crafts area, and this year we plan on having musicians not only on a small stage there, but alongside the trail. And the event is sponsored by Friends of the Greenway. And this year, the booth spaces for the artists are $25. And that's a very, very low fee to compare some art festivals in Nashville. They're about $275. But for what we try to do, we're introducing a lot of new artists to the venues of an art festival. Some are brand new. They don't know if this is what they want to do. They try it out with our art festival. Some have been very, very successful. One started exhibiting a few years ago, and now she owns an art gallery down in Florida. We had one artist who exhibited for the first time 2 years ago, and his artwork is all over town now. So it's a good venue for new artists. And then we also have some that come year after year after year. They're very familiar to the community, and it's a good way to get their artwork out there because they don't have a regular studio to show their work. And it's also a great place to get presents. So put that on your Christmas list for next year. We offer booth spaces along the trail, and we also offer booth spaces inside 2 of the pavilions. And the pavilions are very, very popular for 3 reasons. One is the artist doesn't have to have a pop-up tent. They're protected from the elements. They have access to electricity, and they also have a flat level surface for their displays. And what I would like to, at this time, is ask for a fee increase for the pavilions only for an additional $10. And so it would be $35 rather than $25.
All right. Any questions of Melinda regarding the program or the requests? They're making it easy on you. Well, if there are any questions or additional discussion, we'll take a motion for approval.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Eddie.
Second it.
Vic, thanks, buddy. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks,
Thank you.
Melinda.
Thanks.
Heather Mulliken is with us today, and she is going to tell us about a new summer program that's being proposed called Trail Worms. Heather, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm requesting consideration for a new program that's going to take place on the Greenway. It's called Trail Worms. This program is going to be a collaboration between the Greenway and cultural arts. The program is designed to get children and their families outside on the Greenway and exploring and discovering the native flora and fauna that live here in Murfreesboro. Trail Worms is going to be a weekly program this summer in June and July, and it'll take place on Tuesdays. Each week we're going to explore new topics, again specific to Murfreesboro and Tennessee, like fish, mammals, trees, things like that. The program will meet at a new trailhead each month. So in the month of June, it's going to take place at General Bragg Trailhead, and then in the month of July, we will move to Old Fort Park. So we get kind of different habitats, different environments to explore. If an example of one of our topics, let's say it's birds, we'll go for a short walk on the Greenway and maybe look for the Tennessee state bird, the mockingbird. After that walk on the Greenway, we'll head back to the pavilion, that's our hub. We will do a craft and read a story related to the topic. This program is geared for children ages 3 to 7, and we're asking that no fee be charged this year to gauge interest in the community. Materials for Trail Worms are going to be kept to a minimum, as we'll be using existing materials from programming. Thank you for the consideration of this program.
All right. Thanks, Heather.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions of Heather regarding this program? If there are no questions, need a motion for approval.
I move approval.
Gloria, thank you.
Second.
And a second. Thanks, Eddie. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Thank
Heather,
you.
good luck with the program.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Bart Fight is back with us today to go over the numbers for the revenues from the Buy One, Get One Free program and an update on the SportsCom project. Bart, welcome, man.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. What I'd like to do today is just report our holiday special revenues, where we just finished the end of 2014, our Buy One, Get One Free in December, and the 25% off in January. I do have Patterson Parks and the SportsCom's revenues that did come in, if we could put those on the screen. As you can see, Patterson Park on the December for the Buy One, Get One Free on the month or yearly went down a little, we went up a little. And then on the 25%, Patterson went down some, and we went down a little bit too. So as you can see down through the years, it kind of alternates. It really goes up around the 2011 and then kind of evens down and comes back up on 13 and 14. We look at ourselves and say, well, our revenue went down a little bit, especially on the monthly, the 25% discount. And we always looking at ways to increase revenues. I know Mr. Goodwin challenges all our staff to come up with new ways and inventions or anything to get customers in, to show them that we do have a family atmosphere, to try to get our families and groups into our facility. So we'll be looking at that all through this year and hopefully improve on our revenues next year. We feel like it's been a very successful year, and we try to improve on every aspect of the facility, Patterson and SportsCom. So if there's any questions about the revenues, I'll be trying to answer them for you.
Anybody have any questions on the report for Bart?
Bart, would you speculate that part of the reason for the downturn the last year or two would be primarily because of the local businesses and smaller businesses opening up with weight and fitness facilities and stuff close to?
I would say that's probably the majority of the reason, because as you know, there are a lot of businesses open up, different rate rooms, exercise rooms, everything. So I say that is a big part, and that's part of business competition. And like I said, we will strive to increase our revenues with better programs and better customer service.
Yeah, I certainly want to encourage people to exercise and stuff, but the competition between us and the private sector, I don't think it should be a competition. It should just be the awareness that we're all trying to accomplish the same thing, and so certainly I understand what's taking place there. The fact that the number's down just a little bit doesn't alarm me or disturb me at all. I think it may just be that there's a transition taking place, and if the private sector is getting that business, and we're still going in the right direction of getting more people physically fit, then we're doing great. So, and your building project that y'all have got going out there is progressing fantastically. You've certainly got a facility to be proud of, and I'm always have, and I'm sure it's only going to be better when we get the project completed.
And I was going to mention the pending, when we were offering this, the pending renovation project, and maybe people's concern about accessibility and stuff, I'm sure played a role in that as well.
Correct. What we did was, we're planning on being shut down in March and April completely, and we offered our customers or people that re-up their pass 2 extra months, where they do get the 2 extra months plus the option to use Patterson Park, which we feel was a great benefit, and I know a lot of customers appreciated it.
Yeah. Well, that's still good. Thanks for the report, Bart. Okay. Go ahead. Why don't you give us a quick update on your renovation? How's that going?
All right. On the renovation, I do have a slideshow presentation. It's about 15 slides. It's kind of look at what we're doing. On the first slide there, you can see the first thing he did was pour the temporary sidewalk to get into the building from the Memorial Street side. So that helped greatly, where we could get our customers in and out and not too much inconvenience. Okay, next. There is the gravel and everything getting ready to pour for our new weight room, which when you pass SportsCom, you can see that's really the main focus, is our new weight room coming out the front of the building there. And the gravel there is going for the subfloor and for the concrete. There's a rebar, and they've poured the concrete there for the new weight room. And there's the floor, and the walls are beginning to take shape there before they go up. There's a concrete floor has been laid, slabs been laid, and the walls are starting to take shape. There's the walls on the front side. There's going to be a curved addition there. It'll be a great addition. Windows will be going in when people drive by. They can see the people working out in the new weight room. There's the other side of the building that will be coming out. The front of the building now, that's what they'll see, but they'll have a lot of decoration stuff on the side. It'll really make it attractive. There's the beams going up for the new weight room. They just came in at the end of last week, so it's getting ready to take shape there for the roof. Now we'll move on to the concession area, which you cannot see that or off the gym, but we're gutting our concession area back by the Borough Beach, which will be a great help for. We'll have more room to store our supplies and products, and it'll be a great advantage to our Borough Beach area. There's our old concession stand as it looked, where the turnstiles were right there in that open space. We'll be adding on there and have a new entrance, and it'll with the two windows there, we'll be servicing them. Both of those will be open and service the community to get their beverages and food quicker. There's where we knocked out a wall for better from the old lifeguard room to give us a better area to store the products and supplies. Now we go to the gym locker rooms, which have now been gutted out. They've taken everything out of there but what you see, and they will be tiled and painted here pretty soon, along with that new HVAC system when it gets ready to go. Our shower areas have been gutted. They'll be all brand new, tiled also. There's the front of the Sportscom as it is now. We've had to reroute some people to come through the gym. Haven't had too much trouble there. I think everybody's picked up on it and know how to get in and out now, and it hadn't been too bad at all. But that'll be the new entrance when it is finished. And there's the completed picture there, which we believe will be very attractive to come in and out of our facility, especially from the road. And it's going to be a great addition. And I know if anybody been through construction projects, I'm kind of new to it also, but it's really something. You think they just come in and put the stuff up, but in the meetings and going through the plans and everything, it's real intricate details to put everything up. They put the beams up yesterday, and they had to ship them in to fit those bolts perfectly, and it scared me. I looked out, and I didn't think it was going to fit, and then all of a sudden, it goes down on the bolts. So they've done a good job. Like I said, we are going to be closed in March and April, and we will be in there. I know they'll be in there really getting after it those 2 months, because we need to be back open in May. We've had some requests already for the Duck Derby, for the Kids Fest in May. So we've met. They've told us that they'll do everything possible to get it ready open May the 1st, and we've already got bookings ready to go. Of course, for Borough Beach, I want to let you know that we've only got about 3 dates left for the whole summer in that. When we opened up the reservations January the 2nd, I came in early that morning and looked out, and there was a guy in a sleeping bag, and I realized that, this is the day that we start taking them. It hit me right then, but we took a lot of reservations for Borough Beach, so we're looking forward to the renovation. It's something we're going to be very proud of. Appreciate your support and the council support, and we think it's going to be a great addition to Murfreesboro and Rutherford County.
Thanks, Bart. Does anybody have any questions for Bart on the renovation projects thus far? Looks great.
Thank you.
Man. All right, next item is we got quite a bit to cover under this. This is the period of time each year when we renew our user agreements for the spring and fall leagues. We've got 2 different things. We'll break them up and cover them in 2 different things. Thomas will cover the established usage agreements, which we have 7, and then 1 new usage agreement. So let's talk about the established ones first and approve those.
Well, before you are use agreements, and this is an annual thing that we sign every year. Each year we revisit the use agreement and the partnership we have with several organizations. There's 7 athletic organizations: Murfreesboro Baseball Association, the Middle Tennessee Disc Golf Association, the Murfreesboro Optimist Club or Little League, Stones River Kiwanis Girls Softball, Murfreesboro Tennis Association, the Murfreesboro Soccer Club, and the Murfreesboro Lacrosse. Now, the one thing that we're going to defer to our tennis committee is the Murfreesboro Tennis Association, because that relationship is seeing the most significant change with the development of the new tennis facility and how player development is handled. So we want to get them involved in discussions with our tennis commission so that we have continue to have a good partnership with them, and we are very clear on the role of each organization. However, the other 6 organizations, there's not a lot of difference in the partnership that we have. We provide facilities for them, and they provide programming for the citizens of Murfreesboro. All of these organizations are registered with the state of Tennessee and are 501c nonprofit organizations. We're very diligent about keeping track of records and helping them keep their bylaws up to date and being as open to the public as they can. We recommend these agreements every year. We'll have our athletics banquet on Monday where we'll ask these organizations to come in. We have a dinner. We go through the partnership collectively as a group, discuss the roles of each organization, the city's role in that. But if you have any questions about any of those use agreements or the terms and conditions, there's a few changes in some, but for the most part, they're very similar.
And Thomas, I assume you guys have already reviewed all of these that are before us today with the organizations.
Well, there's not much change from their previous use agreement. Now, once, if we implement a significant change, then we'll meet with them. But Monday is when we'll review with them at our athletic banquet. And then typically we'll meet individually with those groups prior to signing the actual use agreement itself. But the agreements are very similar to the same agreement they had last year.
Okay. Any questions for Thomas? If there are no questions, we need a motion for approval of these established use agreements and their renewal.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Thanks, Eddie. Is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. All right, now let's move to the new usage agreement. Thomas, and tell us all about this.
The new use agreement is we've formulated a use agreement, and this is not necessarily as much of a partnership like the established organizations that we have in our typical annual use agreements. This is more for a field rental. We've gotten a request from the Harpeth Youth Soccer Association. Apparently there are several Murfreesboro citizens who make up the teams within this organization, and they've presented numerous requests for field rentals. Based on our field rental policy, any one organization cannot come in and rent fields for an extended period of time without a use agreement. This agreement is very similar to what we have with the YMCA. The YMCA rents practice fields and game fields from us each season for their flag football and their soccer program. While they're in a direct competition with our programs, our football program, we encourage that so that citizens of Murfreesboro have options for their athletic needs. This is very similar to that use agreement in that they would be renting the fields, they would be paying a fee, and fields would be marked as needed. The only difference, I guess, is that they have requested to play their games at Siegel Park. In years past, we've always hosted state league games for organizations. For example, that Memphis wants to play Knoxville for a state league game. Murfreesboro is the center of the state geographically, so we've rented fields to those organizations for a state league game. This is perhaps similar to that, so we would include that for them to play home games at Siegel, and they would practice at the McKnight Park.
Thomas, let me ask you, because I see one blaring significant difference on the name of this association versus Murfreesboro Baseball, Murfreesboro Lacrosse, Rutherford County Schools. There's no Harpeth going through Murfreesboro. This organization, this contract, is this binding us to an agreement with a group that is much larger than these other organizations, and and my other question would be, where did this organization practice and play last year?
Well, they've rented fields from us just on an individual basis in the past season for the fall season. And I guess the citizens that are affiliated with this organization did not become a part of this organization until about 6 months to a year ago. And then they've requested field space here in the city. I think the organization is based out of Harpeth, which is close to Brentwood, I think. But I know there are several Murfreesboro-based teams that is made up solely of Murfreesboro players.
Is this contract obligating us to the point that we would be providing fields for Davidson County or Franklin or Williamson County? Is this contract going to bind us to a situation that we might be? I want the fields to be used primarily by the people who are paying for the fields, the taxpayers of Murfreesboro. I know that we entertain tournaments from all over the state, and that's great for economic development. I get that part too. But for regular league play, is this going into an area that we haven't been before? And if it is it something that we've made sure that we've protected ourselves within this draft to make sure that we're not going to start providing a service or a league service for another community?
Right. Well, this is handled very similar to a field rental. So we typically don't discriminate if the field is available as to who we rent fields to if it is made available. There is a limit to the number of fields that are being limited that is outlined in the use agreement. So what they have requested is for the teams that are directly affiliated with Murfreesboro.
Okay. And one last question, and I'll be done. Is this going to? Obviously, we've had concerns with the amount of play that has taken place on our soccer fields, and we're trying to recover from past overusage. Probably, is this going to increase the amount of play, or will it just basically be about where it has been in the past, or where are we at on our play on the fields?
I think as far as games are concerned, we're prepared to handle the amount of games and matches that are being played. I think, and of course, we've got staff looking at the impact and the future impact, but the practice is what has really impacted the fields the most. So with this group not practicing at Siegel Park, using another location to practice, I think we could minimize impact in terms of how much play. Keep in mind that a good portion of these kids were involved with MSC in the past, so they were there anyways.
Same kids, different title on it.
Right.
Okay.
They're changing titles.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
For the benefit of the commission, Thomas, what you may want, I think these are select teams.
Right.
And what you may want to explain to the commission is the concept of how select plays the friendlies, how they invite other cities, even if it's local, how that process works.
Right. Typically, a friendly will take place, and that's a match when a Murfreesboro team wants to play a team from, say, Hendersonville. They'll typically invite two teams to come in so that it's a three-team round robin. And in some cases, they may invite four additional teams, and two Murfreesboro teams will play in a six-team round robin, allowing teams to play more than one game. Usually when you go to another city to play, you'll play at least two matches because of the drive. So theirs will be very similar to that. If they have a match, then they would invite other teams in. It's a select competitive soccer environment. They're not offering recreational soccer so that everyone comes in and signs up. It's a competitive environment and a select type program.
Any questions, comments?
Thomas, do you know how many, I guess, select teams we have, or how many youth that we're serving through the select teams?
Well, there's roughly 40-plus select teams with Murfreesboro Soccer Club. And then there's several out-branch teams that, may make up another 5 to 10 teams, depending on the year or the season. Competitive soccer is a upwards trend. It's grown significantly over the years. Keep in mind, when you take a rec soccer player, they're going to practice 1 day a week. They're going to play one match on the weekend. So typically they're on the fields for about 2.5 hours. A select program would typically have 3 to 4 practices per week, and then they would play anywhere from 2 to 3 matches on the weekend. So the time that is being utilized on the field is significantly more. So with the increase in select soccer, it definitely has impacted our fields. However, we're customer service oriented, and this is what our customers want. So we feel like we have to try to provide for our customers.
How many Murfreesboro teams are involved? How many teams total are involved in this association?
2, I believe that there will be 2. The request that they've made is for 2 teams to be able to utilize space for practice and for games.
But in the association, how many teams total?
I'm not sure exactly how many total teams they have. It fluctuates from year to year. There could be as many as 6 to 8 teams total.
Do we know at this time how many, you said some of them are Murfreesboro-based teams. Do you know how many Murfreesboro-based
2.
teams? Out of maybe 6 or 7 is what you're saying?
Right.
How big is Harpeth Youth Soccer Association? How many teams does the entire association have?
I don't know exactly how many they have throughout the entire system.
I guess, going back to what Eddie was talking about, and I think Madeline's getting there. Thomas, I would, really what we're looking at is kind of a hybrid. I mean, we haven't done a long-term rental agreement with somebody like that, and I don't think any of us are opposed to that. But I would be more comfortable if the agreement was specifically with the Murfreesboro-based Harpeth Youth Soccer teams. I think to sign the agreement with Harpeth Youth Soccer Association basically says if they've got 30 teams. I mean, we've just signed the agreement with those 30 teams because we have not specified that it's. I mean,
right.
I think we need to accommodate the teams in that organization that are our citizens. But I think, to protect our taxpayers.
Right. Well, that's why we brought the agreement to you, some input, so we can certainly add verbiage that identifies the specific Murfreesboro teams and limiting the usage to those teams only.
Yeah, and I fully realize that they may have a friendly where they invite another same-age team that's based out of Davidson or Williamson County to come in and participate in their friendly. I get that. But
right.
I'm talking about practicing and using the facilities on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
We need to be accommodating our citizens that want that.
Right. Well, we'll look into that more and get some demographics on the actual demographics of the organization as a whole. I don't think they're as big that large of organization, but there's nothing that says that they can't become that large. And then we'll add some verbiage in terms of Murfreesboro-based teams, and we'll get with Kelly and determine how legally we can identify that and what constitutes a Murfreesboro-based team. Is it a maximum number of participants or a percentage of participants that are Murfreesboro citizens? So we can clarify that through that agreement. Typically in the past when we have these type of agreements, we've done this in multiple sports before, baseball, softball. By limiting the actual amount of field usage in the verbiage itself, then we'd limit the number of teams' usage. If they have one field for an hour and a half, 2 days a week, regardless of how large their organization is, there's only so much you can do in that hour and a half, 2 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So with that being said, if it's okay with the board, I'd like to move that we table this until we get more specifics on the Murfreesboro-based teams.
Anybody got any other questions? I mean, I think all of us are. I mean, I think we want to accommodate the group. I I want to be careful that how we're signing the agreement.
Absolutely.
And I'm in agreement with the direction that sounds like you guys are going now, because I want to protect the taxpayers on our side, but I also want to provide the services. I'm not sure that you said make sure the Murfreesboro residents, maybe Rutherford County residents would be better, because, I mean, we've got people who live just
Right.
outside city limits who I consider Murfreesboro, who may not be on our property tax rolls, but they're certainly paying sales tax every time they come to town and shop. So with that in mind, I think I would try and hold us within Rutherford County as far as residents, if that's one of the criteria that we use. But I'll second Madeline's motion.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
Keep it in mind, too, that the verification process is something we'll have to look at the investigation of that, too. If we go back and have to verify residents and verify players and teammates and stuff, that's an extra cost that's going to be fall on the city's shoulders to keep that current and stuff. So we'll explore all the options that's made available to us to try to keep the city from incurring extra cost in terms of staff and personnel to monitor this, and try to come up with the best plan possible to limit it to the actual Murfreesboro teams.
Thomas, wouldn't the league, I mean, they're going to have registration forms and stuff when they sign up to participate in the league, I'm sure. I mean, I guess it's okay to have the ability to check, but, I mean, as far as the expense to incur
Well, it's
for verification, I mean, that seems to be a stretch. I mean, if you're in an agreement with somebody, I'm assuming we trust them that they're going to be fairly honest with us. And
Yeah, a lot of these agreements that we have are based on, trusting the partnership that we have with them. I really appreciate the input from the commission today. We'll take all this in. I agree with the commission. We'll go back. We'll make the changes that we need to make, and we'll look at what that impact would be, and we'll report that back to you.
And I don't think any of us, Thomas, I don't think we want to overcomplicate the process either. I mean,
Right.
it's, I think the agreement itself makes a lot of sense. It's just how we structure the language of who it's for.
And just don't want to close on this. We'll leave the discussion open because I enjoy the discussion that we're having. One of the things I think we're going to face in the future, not only in soccer but some others, I know Mr. Miller went to our 2035 planning, and I think he heard a lot from the people that attended saying we need additional facilities. And we're going to continue to get additional requests from our residents. There's going to be outgrowths from different leagues. For baseball, softball, we already got a very growing lacrosse league. And Murfreesboro is evolving. And we're going to bring to this commission things for your consideration and direction and guidance to give us where we need to go with these and make sure that we are protecting our citizens and doing what we need to do. So that's what we did today. We wanted to get that input, but we know that in the future, and each one of these sports are different. Soccer, when you start talking about select soccer, Thomas is dead on. They play friendlies. If you've ever been in soccer, you know that you're going to invite other teams from other cities, and that's how you compete in these competitions. You'll play matches that way. It's a lot different than what you would consider local league play. And we've had baseball outgrowth, Terry Fans League.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember it was a select baseball team that traveled. And that was an outgrowth of people wanting to start doing the traveling portion. And they would invite people from other cities to play here in Murfreesboro, and they'd travel to other cities. And we worked with the Kiwanis on providing fields at that location. So I think you're going to see others in the future. It just really helps us as a staff to give us direction on what's the thoughts of the commission.
The
Totally agree.
Terry Fan Baseball League was very similar to this situation in that it was based out of a Nashville league, but it was made up primarily of Murfreesboro citizens. And then it evolved into a competitive actual league rather than just providing field for a couple of teams. So, the our perspective from the athletic division is we run youth basketball. It's probably one of the largest youth leagues in the city with 1,200 kids. But I think one of the things that helps us make that a successful program is the fact that citizens have options. There's Boys and Girls Club. There's the YMCA basketball, first shot, one goal sports. So there's about 5 different organizations that offers youth basketball, and everything has a little bit something different so that citizens have options. And of course, we never want a citizen to leave our league. We'd like to keep their children in the league throughout till they're 18. However, if they're not happy with the competition level or whatever it may be in our league, there's certainly options for them to go to so that they can stay in Murfreesboro, stay in Rutherford County, participate in youth basketball. And we work with those leagues quite often. Andy Herzer, who runs First Shot Basketball, does clinics at Patterson all the time. So we embrace the other organizations, and they send kids to us, and we send kids to them. So I think we're going to see that as the city grows and continues to get bigger. We're going to see that in all the sports, not just basketball and baseball, but every sport.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. All right. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. There is no other discussion. New motion for approval. Well, we've already had a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. Thank you guys for your work on it. Look forward to getting it back. I don't think it should take long. And it's just a little tweak. Becky, last but certainly not least, give us an update on the upcoming programs.
Sure. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And we have a few events and programs coming up that I'd like to tell you about. One of them is our Start Smart soccer program. That is an introductory soccer program for children ages 2 to 4. That will be held on Saturdays at 10 a.m., and it'll be at McFadden Community Center. They're moving the location because of the SportsCom renovations, so we just want to make sure everybody knows the location change. And registration for that begins February 16th and runs through March 13th. But we encourage you to sign up early because it's become very popular and successful. Then we have our Winnie the Pooh Kids. That is our production, and that will be held February 20th through the 22nd. On Friday and Saturday evenings, it will be at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Washington Theater at Patterson Park. So we encourage everybody to come out to see Winnie the Pooh Kids. Then we have Soul Beats, which will be held on February 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. at Patterson Park Community Center. This is a free event in which there will be a journey through African American cultural heritage told through music, dance, art, and storytelling. There'll be workshops, performances, and interactive activities for the entire family. So we encourage everyone to come out on February 28th from 10 to 3 at Patterson Park. We also have Raptor Day, which will be held Saturday, February 28th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Wilderness Station. And you can come on out and learn about Tennessee's fabulous birds of prey and bird watching as well. And there is reservations required for that program, although it is free. We do encourage you to register, and you can simply call 217-3017 to register. And for all our other programs and events and happening, you can contact us at our main office at 890-5333. Check out our website at murfreesborotn.gov/parks, or pick up a copy of our Rec Connection, or check out one of our Facebook pages.
As always, there's a bunch going on, even in the dead of winter.
Yes. All right.
Is there any questions for Becky about any of the upcoming programs? Thanks for being here as always. Is there any other business to come before the commission? Being none, we stand adjourned. I appreciate your time.